विन्दते हविः श्रद्धां भगस्य मूर्धनि वचसा वेदयामसि प्रियगोश्रद्धे ददतः प्रियगोश्रद्धे दिदासतः प्रियं भोजेषु यज्वसु इदम् उदितं कृधि यथा देवा असुरेषु श्रद्धामुग्रेषु चक्रिरे एवं भोजेषु यज्वसु अस्माकमुदितं कृधि श्रद्धां देवा यजमानाः वायुगोपा उपासते श्रद्धागुं हृदयया कूत्या श्रद्धया हूयते हविः श्रद्धां प्रातर्हवामहे श्रद्धां मध्यन् दिनं परि श्रद्धागुं सूर्यस्य निमृचि श्रद्धे श्रद्धापये हमा श्रद्धा देवा न दिवस्ते श्रद्धा विश्वमिदं जगत् श्रद्धागुं कामस्य मातरम् हविषा वर्धयामसि। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। नमः शिवाय च नमः शिवाय च नमः शिवाय शिवाय च नमः शिवाय शिवाय नमो नमः शिवाय शिवाय च शिवाय शिवाय च नमः शिवाय शिवाय नमो नमः शिवाय च शिवाय नमो नमः शिवाय च शिवाय च शिवाय शिवाय च।
ॐ जातवेदसे सुनवामसो ममराति यतो निदहाति वेदः स नः पर्षदति दुर्गाणि विश्वा नावेव सिन्धुं दुरितात्यग्निः तामग्निवर्णां तपसा ज्वलन्तीं वैरोचनीं कर्मफलेषु जुष्टां दुर्गां देवीगुं शरणमहं प्रपद्ये सुतरसितरसे नमः। अग्ने त्वं पारयानव्यो अस्मान् स्वस्तिभिरति दुर्गाणि विश्वा पूष्य पृथ्वी बहुलान उर्वी भवातोकायतनयाय संयोः विश्वाणिनो दुर्गः जातवेदः सिन्धुन्ननावा दुरितातिपर्षि अग्ने अत्रिवन्मनसा गृह्णानु ओस्माकं बोध्यविता तनूनाम् ऋतनाजितगुं सहमानमुग्रमग्निगुं हुवेम परमात् सधस्तात् स नः पर्षदति दुर्गाणि विश्वा क्षामद्देवो अतिदुरितात्यग्निः प्रत्नोषि कमीढ्यो अध्वरेषु सनाच्च होता नव्यश्च सत्सि स्वाञ्चा आग्ने तनुवं विप्रयस्वास्मभ्यं च सौभगमायजस्व गोभिर्जुष्टमयुजो निषिक्तं तवेन्द्रविष्णोरनुसञ्चरेम नाकस्य पृष्ठमभिसंवसानो वैष्णवीं लोकैहमादयन्ताम् कात्यायनाय विद्महे कन्याकुमारी धीमहि तन्नो दुर्गिः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सहस्रपरमा देवी शतमूला शताङ्कुरा सर्वगुं हरतु मे पापं दूर्वा दुःस्वप्ननाशनी काण्डात् काण्डात् प्ररोहन्ति परुषः परुषः परी ईवानो दूर्वे प्रतनु सहस्रेण शतेन च या शतेन प्रतनोषि सहस्रेण विरोहसि तस्या आस्ते देवीष्टके विधेम हविषा वयम् अश्वक्रान्ते रथक्रान्ते विष्णुक्रान्ते वसुन्धरा शिरसा धारयिष्यामि रक्षस्व मां पदे पदे भूमिर्धेनुर्धरणी लोकधारिणी उद्धृतासि वराहेण कृष्णेन शतबाहुना मृत्तिकेह न मे पापं यन्मया दुष्कृतं कृतं मृत्तिके ब्रह्म दत्तासि काश्यपेनाभिमन्त्रिता मृत्तिके देहि मे पुष्टिं त्वयि सर्वं प्रतिष्ठितम् मृत्तिके प्रतिष्ठिते सर्वं तन्मे निर्णुद मृत्तिके तया हतेन पापेन गच्छामि परमां गतिम् ॐ यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं तु यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव नारायण नमोऽस्तु ते विसर्गबिन्दुमात्राणि पदपादाक्षराणि च न्यूनानि चातिरिक्तानि क्षमस्व साईश्वरा अपराधसहस्राणि क्रियन्ते हर्निशं मया दासोऽयमिति मां मत्वा क्षमस्व साईश्वरा अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष साईश्वरा हरिः ओं तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
जय श्री गणेश विघ्ननाश गजानना जय श्री गणेश विघ्ननाश गजानना विद्याबुद्धि सर्वसिद्धि सुरञ्जना विद्याबुद्धि सर्वसिद्धि सुरञ्जना जय विघ्ननाश गजानन
साई साई स्मरण करो, साई साई स्मरण करो, गुरु चरण कमल ध्यान करो, गुरु चरण कमल ध्यान करो, साई साई स्मरण करो, केशव माधव भजन करो, केशव माधव भजन करो, सद्गुरु साई सेवा करो, श्री सद्गुरु साई सेवा करो, साई साई स्मरण करो, गुरु चरण कमल ध्यान करो, साई साई स्मरण करो, केशव माधव भजन करो, सद्गुरु साई सेवा करो, श्री सद्गुरु साई सेवा करो, साई साई स्मरण करो।
प्रतीश्वरी जगज्जननी,
प्रतीश्वरी जगज्जननी,
प्रतीश्वरी जगज्जननी,
प्रतीश्वरी जगज्जननी,
जय 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 हे साई जननी,
जय 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 हे साई जननी,
प्रतीश्वरी
शिव शम्भो शम्भो शिव शम्भो महादेवा 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 हर 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 महादेवा 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 शिव शम्भो महादेवा हालाहलधर शम्भो अनाथनाथ शम्भो हालाहलधर शम्भो अनाथनाथ शम्भो हालाहलधर शम्भो अनाथनाथ शम्भो हालाहलधर शम्भो अनाथनाथ शम्भो हरि ओम हरि ओम नमः शिवाय 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 शिव शम्भो शम्भो शिव शम्भो महादेवा शिव शम्भो शम्भो शिव शम्भो महादेवा हर 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 महादेवा शिव शम्भो महादेवा हर 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 महादेवा शिव शम्भो महादेवा हालाहलधर शम्भो अनाथनाथ शम्भो हालाहलधर शम्भो अनाथनाथ शम्भो हरि ओम नमः शिवाय हरि ओम नमः शिवाय हरि ओम हरि ओम नमः शिवाय हरि ओम नमः शिवाय शिव शम्भो शम्भो शिव शम्भो महादेवा
बुद्ध महावीर येशु साई बुद्ध महावीर येशु साई।
जय साई गुरुदेवा, साई गुरुदेवा,
जय साई गुरुदेवा, साई गुरुदेवा,
जय साई गुरुदेवा, साई गुरुदेवा,
जय साई गुरुदेवा, साई गुरुदेवा।
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा,
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा।
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा,
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा।
तुम्ही हो माता पिता, तुम्ही हो साई गुरुदेवा,
तुम्ही हो माता पिता, तुम्ही हो साई गुरुदेवा।
तुम्ही हो माता पिता, तुम्ही हो साई गुरुदेवा,
तुम्ही हो माता पिता, तुम्ही हो साई गुरुदेवा।
सत्य स्वरूपा राह दिखाओ साई गुरुदेवा,
सत्य स्वरूपा राह दिखाओ साई गुरुदेवा।
सत्य स्वरूपा राह दिखाओ साई गुरुदेवा,
सत्य स्वरूपा राह दिखाओ साई गुरुदेवा।
सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा,
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा।
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा,
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा।
साई गुरुदेवा, साई गुरुदेवा,
जय साई गुरुदेवा।
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा,
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा।
तुम्ही हो माता पिता, तुम्ही हो साई गुरुदेवा,
तुम्ही हो माता पिता, तुम्ही हो साई गुरुदेवा।
सत्य स्वरूपा राह दिखाओ साई गुरुदेवा,
सत्य स्वरूपा राह दिखाओ साई गुरुदेवा।
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा,
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा।
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा,
गुरु सेवा बिना निर्वाण नहीं, जय साई गुरुदेवा।
जय साई गुरुदेवा, साई गुरुदेवा।
राम राम भजो मन हरे हरे 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 साईं 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 राम भजो मन हरे हरे राम राम भजो मन हरे हरे राम राम भजो मन हरे हरे रघुपति राजा राम राम रघुपति राजा राम राम रघुपति राजा राम राम रघुपति राजा राम राम पतित पावन सीताराम पतित पावन सीताराम पतित पावन सीताराम पतित पावन सीताराम साईं राम भजो मन हरे हरे 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 राम राम भजो मन हरे हरे राम राम भजो मन हरे हरे साईं राम भजो मन हरे हरे साईं राम भजो मन हरे हरे राम राम भजो मन हरे हरे राम राम भजो मन हरे हरे रघुपति राजा राम राम रघुपति राजा राम राम पतित पावन सीताराम पतित पावन सीताराम साईं राम भजो मन हरे हरे 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 साईं राम भजो मन हरे प्रेमावतारा साई राम
प्रेमावतारा साई राम
पूर्णावतारा साई राम
पूर्णावतारा साई राम
जय साई राम जय साई राम
जय साई राम जय साई राम
जय साई राम जय जय राम
बोलो जय साई राम जय राम
बोलो जय साई राम जय जय राम
बोलो जय साई राम जय राम
अनाथ रक्षक साई राम
अनाथ रक्षक साई राम
आपद बांधव साई राम
आपद बांधव साई राम
प्रेम स्वरूप साई राम
प्रेम स्वरूप साई राम
प्रेमावतारा साई राम
प्रेमावतारा साई राम
पूर्णावतारा साई राम
पूर्णावतारा साई राम
जय साई राम जय साई राम
कौन सी साईराम? Ajay Sairam, can you hear me?
Yes, brother, loud and clear.
Yeah, Sairam. Sairam, everyone, welcome to all of you for the 7th anniversary of Sri Sathya Sai Seva Kendra. Thank you very much for joining this, being a weekday and in the evening at 5:30. Thanks for all joining. So we will have a quick 10-minute video capture of all the events that had happened with the Kendra. We started with Swami's blessings. The Bhumi Puja happened in 2013, and the inauguration happened on 2014, June 22nd, exactly 1 year after Bhumi Puja. And we've captured the important, beautiful memories of this Kendra and what it means to all of us. So I will run through that video and then I'll have a quick narration of a 2-minute experience on one of these incidents that had happened while doing the Kendra construction. Yes, Saira.
to District President Shri K. Sundaraman, the young man is there. Come on stage, please. The education coordinator will be Srimati Padma Ravindran, who will be handling the education in this committee, in this district. The spiritual coordinator will be Mr. Murli Mohan. The spiritual coordinator Mahila will be Srimati Parvati. Is she there? Is she all there? Will be there? Okay. The service coordinator gents will be Shri Shivakumar. And the service
Brother, can you just confirm if my voice is clear?
Yes, brother, it's clear.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. So once again, a warm welcome. Today, Swami has blessed us with great opportunity to hear his love, his compassion, and his divine leelas from one of his chosen instruments. Why I say instrument, you will know soon. We are indeed fortunate to have Brother Ravi Teja with us. A quick intro about Brother Ravi Teja. Brother Ravi hails from Hyderabad and joined BSc Physics in Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Brindavan campus. Subsequently, he completed MBA from the same institute in the year 1990. After completing his MBA, Swami gave Brother Ravi Teja an opportunity to work in Gokulam for about a year, and we all know Gokulam is Swami's cowshed in Prashanti Nilayam. Then Swami commanded Brother Ravi Teja to go out, go and see the world and come back in his usual way of locum shusira. As per his command, Brother Ravi went out and worked in Hyderabad and in US for a few years in various capacities and returned to work in Puttaparthi in 2005. And ever since, he has been working in Prashanti Nilayam. Since Brother Ravi's student days, he has been part of Prashanti Bhajan group playing flute. So now you got the reason why I say the chosen instrument. And Swami endearingly calls Brother Ravi as flute boy. So being Swami's flute boy not only bestowed greatest blessings on him, but also lots of proximity with the Lord himself. Brother Ravi has been blessed to be in Swami's entourage during Bhagavan's Kodaikanal visit, not once, not twice, but thrice. He was also part of the chosen 9-member music boys team, which Swami got along with him for the Chennai Athirutra Maha Yajnam in the year Jan 2007. And he was also part of Swami's Delhi and Shimla trip, and subsequently Hachi and Mumbai trip. So the lot of trip with the Lord means a lot of experience for us to share. Brother Ravi, it's not just Ravi Teja, brother has been blessed, but his family is also so blessed that his father had composed Sri Sathya Sai Chalisa, and his mother and brother have composed many beautiful bhajans that we sing almost day in and day out. Just to name a few is Partishwara Satya Sai Ishwara, and one of my favorite, Bhasmabhushi Tangasai, was composed by them. Sesha Shailavasa Narayana and Sri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama are just a few to name. Currently, Brother Ravi Teja is working as Senior Manager of HR and Admin in Sri Sathya Sai Sadhana Trust, part of Bhakta Saghaya Division in Prashanti Nilayam. I'm so excited and happy to welcome Brother Ravi Teja on behalf of Chennai East Coast to share his pearls from the divine experience that he has gained from Swami. A warm welcome, Brother Ravi Teja, and we look forward to hear from you. Over to you, brother.
Sairam, dear all. Am I audible? Am I visible?
You're perfectly audible, brother. I'm not
And
able to see though.
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I can see.
I'd like to share the screen, so if you could kindly allow me to do so.
Host, can you please do that?
Please make him a presenter. You can make him a presenter.
Yeah, it looks okay now. Is this clear? I mean, can you all see the screen, or?
We can see the screen. Can you go into the presentation mode, sir? If that's okay.
Mode. All right. Is this correct?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Right. Om Shri Sai Ram to all of you. First of all, let me thank Brother Ajay Rajan for a wonderful introduction. And thanks to Swami for having me celebrate along with all of you for this Satya Sai Kendra anniversary, 7th anniversary. I offer my most humble salutations at Bhagwan's lotus feet. Brother Venkat Samangiri Garu, Brother Murli Mohan Garu, Sri Prabhu sir, Dr. Sundaraman sir, and my brother Karthik Ramesh. I understand all of you are there, and all my brothers and sisters. Thanks for having me celebrate this particular anniversary day for your center. It's a great pleasure. In fact, I've seen the presentation made by Brother Venkat Garu. It's so thrilling, you know. It just within a span of 7 years, you know, the center, the Seva Kendra has grown so much, and that you are doing so many wonderful things, so many activities. It's really very thrilling. And congratulations to all of you for this wonderful achievement. And with Bhagwan's blessings, may you all continue to do these service activities for a very, very, very long time. Now, with your permission, I just want to share a few of my thoughts, especially as Brother Prabhu asked me. I'm going to share some of my experiences that Bhagwan has granted graciously during my, sojourn of my life as such. Just to give you a little bit of background about my own self, I hail from, if I can claim that, from a devotee family. Almost from my childhood, I've grown up looking at Bhagwan's picture as God. So it was not really, a surprise, when somebody showed Swami's photo and said he's God and he's Rama, Krishna, and Satya Sai Baba. They're all gods for us. So we had an altar in which Bhagwan's photo was also there. So it was pretty easy for me to accept. It was not as if I was introduced to Swami, after some time of my life. So it was kind of easy for me. However, my first ever darshan that I've had, that was way back in I'd say probably late 70s, when I was a young kid, along with my mother and father and my brother. We all went to Shivam. I hail from Hyderabad, as Brother Rajirajan just mentioned. So Swami visited Shivam in those days, late 70s. He used to come almost once every few months, pretty regularly in those days. So I've had his first darshan. And then those days, it was, some of these students who would come, or rather who were there, would actually be seated. And I would look at those students and keep thinking, oh my God, I should become like that student, because they were treated very, very special from day one. As you all are aware, Swami students are treated like literally angels, whether they are angels or not, but they are literally treated like angels, and they are seated separately, and they are like, everyone goes down to them and says, Sairam, would you like to have something? Would you like to sit this way, that way, or can I do something for you? That kind of a special treatment is always given to this student. So I always envied that place and that kind of a situation. And so I wanted to be Bhagwan's student. And it just so happened that Swami visited Shivam one more time, in 83. That was my first ever experience. I was probably in my +1 or something like that. And Swami came, and I was part of the bhajan group. Fortunately for me, I'm born in a musical family. My mother is a Carnatic classical teacher. She had a school of her own teaching. She's had several students in her school. And so I just grew up learning music and singing along with the students. And so that's how the music has been there in our DNA throughout our family. And so my brother, elder brother, Sri Krishna Mohan, he was actually instrumental for all of us to get closer in terms of physical proximity to Bhagavan, I could say that. The reason I say that is because Brother Krishna Mohan was bhajan group leader from like I said, about the late 70s till date, until he recently merged in Swami's Lotus Suite. But then he's been there, all along, and then he used to come back home, share a lot of experiences of various devotees, and it used to be very thrilling. And so I always wanted to be part of the bhajan group. And So it just so happened that I was there sitting among the bhajan group members, as Swami was leaving Puttaparthi to get back to, I'm sorry, leaving Hyderabad to get back to Puttaparthi. Swami actually gave us an opportunity to have Pad Namaskar for all the bhajan group. Those days, Swami would give Pad Namaskar to, the Sevadal members and VIP separately. And then it just so happened that Swami gave us, this chance of having his Pad Namaskar during that period, that time, that particular trip. And I was fortunate to be seated there. To cut this story a little short, as Swami walked down, he looked at all of us seated in a line and then said, "Ah, Bhajana Valla," like that. He exclaimed, and then he walked past each one of us. And then when my turn came, I took my first ever Pad Namaskar, and then I was looking at Bhagwan, and then Swami stared into my eyes. Very, it was like a split second though, but it seemed like a very long time. Swami looked into my eyes and then moved on. No words exchanged, nothing happened after that. Subsequently, I went as a Sevadal to Puttaparthi to do Seva in Puttaparthi. And then finally, when I wrote my exam, for getting entrance, entrance exam into BSc, I secured an opportunity to join in. Later, I learned that, Swami used to physically check mark, put a check on who's supposed to join, who's not supposed to join among those who got selected in the interview and also the entrance exam. So I was fortunate to be checked on by Bhagwan, and then I've joined. But then it's just so happened that this was back in 1985, brothers and sisters. It just so happened that we were all hoping that we would be Puttaparthi students and stay in Puttaparthi and have Bhagwan's darshan day in and day out and enjoy the bliss of being in his physical presence. But then to our, I shouldn't say disappointment, but it was more of a shock for all of us when Bhagwan announced that some of the students have to go to Vrindavan for studying, for continuing their studies. Now, it was more of a surprise for us. The reason I say that is because we always thought, physically, Bhagwan used to spend a lot of time in Puttaparthi. So staying in Puttaparthi was great. But then when we were all asked to go to Vrindavan, we thought, it was really losing out and on a great opportunity of being close to Swami. But then we didn't have a choice. University made that decision. And so we all moved on to Vrindavan, continue our studies in Vrindavan. But then it just turned out that, that was the greatest opportunity that I personally had in my own personal life. Vrindavan, in my days, we only had about 90 students. So when Swami visited after, 1985, 60th birthday, when Swami visited Vrindavan, it was more like whenever he called us for Trayi sessions, it was more like an interview session. So every interview session, rather every Trayi session, that's what it is called as, in Vrindavan, whenever Swami calls boys into Trayi Vrindavan and then spends some time in the evenings, that's called as Trayi session. I'm pretty sure most of you would already be aware of this. So those Trayi sessions used to be very special, with Swami giving us a lot of chances and opportunities and, things like that. There's one thing that I really want to make a mention of at this point of time is during 60th birthday, which was really a grand function that happened in Puttaparthi, 1985. Swami has actually written a play in Telugu. It's called Radha Krishna, and I got a chance to play the flute as the background music for the background music. But then it just so happened that even though I was not really delivering dialogues or on screen, Swami used to call me in while he was teaching this dialogues and the way the songs that they were supposed to sing. He was teaching those songs and all that to the boys who were performing on the stage. But then along with them, he would call me as well into the interview room. And my job used to be kind of sit at his lotus feet and enjoy Pad Seva while he's explaining and talking about Radha's bhakti and things like that. It used to be, I was just, wonderfully enjoying that bliss. I was not just a spectator, but I was absorbing all that sweetness that Swami was actually sharing with all these boys. Brother S. Kumar, who's currently in the US, played the role of Radha. Brother Ravi Kumar, who is now one of the lead singers in Prashanthi Nilayam Bhajan group, he was the main Gopika. So Swami used to call them regularly, literally on a daily basis. And Swami has actually written as many as about 14 songs in this particular play. And Swami used to literally teach them how to sing, how to express that bhavam in every song, and explain Radha's bhakti. Now, who else other than Lord Krishna, Lord Sai Krishna himself can do that, right? So he used to do this, and while I was just sitting and watching this wonderful glory, of Bhagwan, and that was like a wonderful time for me to absorb Swami's philosophy. I was just a young kid and really not so much aware of Bhagwan's divinity, and not really, like I just mentioned in the beginning, I just accepted him as God, and that's it. I mean, there was no real absorption into the divine portion of Bhagwan, and then the philosophy of Bhagwan. Now that I am really an experienced exponent or a great spiritual seeker, no, I'm not claiming so. But the point is, it was a great opportunity for me to really understand Swami's philosophy and what Swami really looks at when he looks at each one of us. And really myriad are his ways. If I can digress a little bit, kindly permit me to do so. Each and every devotee has his own book of experiences. I'm sure if people start sitting down and writing down, I'm sure we already have our books and publications division of Sadhana Trust has hundreds of books, and I'm sure there are many unwritten stories of devotees. But the point is, Swami, touches everyone's life, and I had my chance as well. I say I still have my chance, hopefully so, with Bhagwan's blessings. But all of us, I'm sure, have had some kind of experience directly or indirectly with Bhagwan's blessings. And so at that particular point of time, during those interviews when he was sharing Radha's Bhakti, that got into me. And then we came back, and when we came back to Vrindavan, Swami used to talk to us regularly, and he used to give several chances. So I was literally attracted by this, Swami's, of course, the philosophy, of course, as such. And then I was also attracted by these sweet miracles that he used to do as well, creating rings. Initially, as a kid, I would always look for, oh, Swami, why not Swami give me a watch, a ring, things like that. So once while I was in Vrindavan, he gave me a watch, of course, and then he said, don't tell anyone that I gave you this watch. But it's just so impossible, as you all know, to hide a watch. And of course, I was wearing my full hands, and then I would cover it. And then just to ensure that nobody's seeing, I would actually cover the watch with the, full hands, and then, hold it like that. So that becomes much more conspicuous. And people would really wonder, oh, what is this guy, trying to hide? Unfortunately, by evening, Swami gave this watch to me in the morning. And then by evening, people, literally everybody knew that Swami gave a watch to Ravi Teja. And then Swami called me in the evening and he said, did you tell everyone? I said, Swami, I tried to hide, but I couldn't hide, Swami. Sorry. See, you are not following my instructions. That was the first lesson. So I took that as a serious lesson. And then, of course, I started thinking about it much more deeply. He's watching us. He knows everything that we think, do, or talk, everything, literally everything, for every second, every moment. I just want to, share one more little experience when I say this. While in Vrindavan, Tri Vrindavan, Swami used to, like I said, call us for Tri sessions. And in the morning sessions, we would all be seated, as you all, hopefully you're able to see the screen that I've shared. We all would be sitting in front of the, Tri Vrindavan building on the main road in a row. And then Swami would come out of the Tri Vrindavan and then talk to some of the students or the VIPs standing behind, and then walk on towards, the Sairam shed. Those days it used to be Sairam shed, and to give darshan to all the devotees. So I was seated among the students, like the way they are sitting out there on the screen. I was seated on one particular day. I was seated in that location. And then Swami actually went behind the students to talk to some of the VIPs. Sairam, am I audible? Sairam?
Yes, Sairam. Yes, Sairam, very much.
All right. All right, sir. All right, sir. Thank you. Kindly let me know just in case if something is not clear so that I can correct myself, please.
Sure, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. So Swami went behind the students and he started talking to some of the VIPs behind us. So we all turned and then, we were facing Swami's back. Swami is talking the way he's standing on the screen right now, majestically with his hands behind him. That's similarly, he was standing on the same lines. He was standing. Saira, did someone say something? Sorry. Right, I'll continue.
No, yeah, we can go ahead.
I'll continue. Okay. So he was standing and talking to the VIPs there. And then, as you can see, there are so many, trees out there. So one particular leaf from one of those trees, a very small leaf, it started slowly sliding down. There was not much of breeze as well. So it started slowly sliding down and then came down and slowly fell on Bhagwan's crown, the hair. It was so soft that, as a normal human, it would be just impossible for any one of us to really understand or notice that, something fell on your head. It was very light and obviously, there was no breeze as well. So it just came and slowly settled on Swami's crown, Swami's hair. As soon as I saw this, just a flash of thought, I would say I didn't really think. It was just a flash of thought, across. It just flashed by. I just thought, oh, wow, what a fortunate leaf it is. How fortunate the leaf is. That was just a flash. And then I thought about it. And then I was looking at Bhagwan's wonderful, frame. And then, of course, we couldn't hear what Swami was talking because he was talking to the VIPs behind us. So we were just, having darshan. In a split second, brothers and sisters, Swami quickly turned towards me and stared literally into my eyes straight away. And he said, not this. He took out the leaf from his hair. Not this. You are fortunate. Swami looked into my eyes and he said, you are fortunate. That is Bhagwan. Brothers and sisters, he is everywhere. He knows everything. Omniscient, omnipotent Lord. And there is nothing that he doesn't know. He has created us, you, me, and this world and everything. And there's nothing that you can hide from him. A flash, I didn't even, like I said, it was not a deliberate thought. It was just a flash. Oh, what a fortunate leaf. And then Swami knew it instantaneously. And then he, turned and then he said, not this. And then he took out the leaf, as I said, held it like that in his grip, and then came close to me, threw it down on my lap. It just came down as a guava, fruit, a fruit, not a leaf, by the way. And for a couple of months, I kept it. I thought it's a great gift Bhagwan has given. Of course, it got rotten and then I had to dispose it off. But then the point is, he knows everything. And that's basically how he literally attracts you. Now, I was pretty convinced at this point of time, I was still in my first year degree or so. I was convinced that yes, he is God, and yes, Swami is standing, God is standing in front of me. And so I always wanted to get closer to him. And fortunately for me, thanks to the blessings of my mother and my brother and parents, of course, I was able to be part of the bhajan group and, have been playing flute since then, Bhagwan's grace. So Swami used to call me as flute boy. And then many occasions, of course, he has given me several opportunities to play just for him in an interview room, taught me how to play alapana for Sri Raghavam. Our boys sing Sri Raghavam, right? So I used to play different styles of Sri Raghavam. And then Swami one day he actually called me in and he said, no, this is how you're supposed to play. Sri Raghavam Dasarathatmana, after the whole shlokam is sung, then you are supposed to go na 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 like that. He literally sang this for me and then taught me. And then there are, of course, many other opportunities that he has granted, similar. Just to recount one other great chance, one thing is, as you get closer, you keep pining, you keep pining for his proximity, you keep uh, asking for it more and more, and you really want to get close to him, understand, and then get close to him. And that's basically what is appealing. It's especially while staying in Vrindavan, when Swami is physically away in Puttaparthi, that's when you would really miss him. There was one such occasion when, like I said, Swami has composed many songs for this Radha Krishna song. And there's a very small song, that Swami has composed along the tune that we all know, of course. Bhava Bhaya Harana Vandita Charana. In that tune, Swami has actually composed the song. The lyrics are different for that particular play, Telugu play. And it goes like Daya Radha Radha Pai Krishna Dayale Daya Radha Pai Na Bratuke Ni Korakai Na Paluke Ni Pathamai Kadaya Radha Radha Pai. That's how it goes. Very simple, very cute song. Basically, with Radha crying and pining for Lord Krishna, and she sings, oh Krishna, don't you have this compassion on me, Daya Radha, Ye Radha Pai. So I was actually thinking of this song, and I was missing Bhagwan while I was studying in Vrindavan, of course. I was missing Bhagwan, so I wanted to stay away from the rest of my students, rest of the students in the hostel. So I just walked out into Sairam Shed, and then I was roaming around singing this song to myself as I missed him. After maybe about half an hour or so, I returned to hostel, back to my room, and got into my routine. Now, after a few days, Swami came to Vrindavan. The first day, as soon as he came, then he called all of us for a Trai session, and we were all seated there. And I was along with the Bhajan group. Bhajan group normally used to sit about 3 or 4 rows away from Bhagwan's chair. So that whenever Swami looks at us, we are all together. Brother Karthik Ramesh would know. We're all together as singers, and the instrument plays, the harmonium, tabla, we're all together, and then we can share notes and then quickly sing whatever Swami wants and things like that. So I was sitting a little away, and then that particular day, Swami walked in from inside, came to me. He did not sit on the chair. He came to me close, and then he looked into my eyes and kept nodding very mischievously. Daya Radha Radha Pai Krishna. He started singing that. That was such a sweet, sweet, sweet thing. Of course, initially I didn't realize what Swami was doing. Took me maybe just a split second, maybe a couple of seconds for me to really understand. And by the time it dawned that I was actually missing him and praying for him, and this is how Swami is, acknowledging. That was so sweet of Bhagwan. So all you need, brothers and sisters, all we all need is to really find for him, to really show, not just show, but really feel that love for his grace and blessings. And that's all. He certainly responds. Not just once, there can be any number of experiences I can share. Just one more I'd like to share along these lines. As I said, I always wanted to be very close to Bhagwan, always find for the chance to be close, because not just, the bliss of being close to him, you would also get some physical opportunities. For example, during holidays or any other festival occasions, Swami would call the students to go into the interview room, fetch some, clothes and things like that. And so those are sweet opportunities that you can actually go in and then bring, and then Swami would then distribute to the devotees. So that's how, you get so many wonderful opportunities, right? So I was always, at Puttaparthi or in Vrindavan, never went home even during my holidays or vacation times, be it winter vacation or summer vacation. I would always be at Prashanti Nilayam. And one particular such holiday season, Swami said, hey, your parents are your first responsibility. always you want to stay with Swami, that's not good. You should give happiness to your parents as well, because first is mother, second is father, then only, your guru, then God comes after that. So you must first satisfy your parents. So go spend your holidays with your parents now. I was really disappointed because I never wanted to go out of, leaving Bhagwan there. I never wanted to go home. And I was so very down. But then Swami literally commanded and he said, yes, you must go and you're going by tonight's bus. Those days, train was not there. And so I was, we had to travel from Hyderabad by bus to Puttaparthi or vice versa. So when Swami commands saying that, yes, you must go. So I had no chance, no choice. And so I took that evening's bus, very disappointed, went back home. But then having gone home, I was really missing Swami. I was missing him so much so that, one evening I actually sat on the terrace and then kept thinking of him. Maybe a tear or two came out too. And then, as I said, thanks to my parents, my mother's blessings, this Tyagaraja Kriti, Nagumomu Ganaleni, I'm pretty sure many of you may know, is very dear to me. And that came to my mind. And, the meaning is, the first line itself is, oh Lord, what is the use of this body if I cannot see your beautiful face? Nagumomu, your smiling face. Ganaleni na jali telisi. How can I express my status to you, oh Lord? That's how the song goes. And one of the lines, as I was singing this to myself, I was lost in Swami's thoughts. And then, like I said, maybe a tear or two has come, and then I was lying down on some kind of a mat out there on the terrace, and nobody else was there around me. And there is one particular line that goes, Jagamele Paramatma Yavarito Moralidudu Vagaju Pakutalanu Nannelu Kora Tyagarajanutani Nagumomo Ganaleni Najali. So that's how it goes. So which means Jagamele Paramatma, O Lord of the universe, O Lord of this world, Yavarito Moralidudu, who else can I go to? Who else can I pray to? Vagajupaku. Talanu Nannelu Kora. Don't ignore me, please take care of me. That's how it goes. And the first line is Khagaraju ni Anati. Vini Vega Chanaledo. Oh, maybe Lord Garuda has not been able to hear your call so that he could bring me down. But maybe he didn't hear you. But then, how I'm missing you, Lord. That's how the line goes. I actually sang this to myself. I probably fell asleep. And then I had a very short dream, wherein Bhagwan came and then he granted a wonderful, very sweet Pada Namaskar. But that was not it. I was thrilled, of course. It is, even if I close my eyes today, it was so real that, I could actually see Swami walking from the interview room close to me and giving me Pada Namaskar. I probably, slept there for about half an hour during this time, this particular dream came. And then after a while, my mother called maybe, for dinner or something. Then I went out. I forgot about this incident. And vacations got over. I returned to Puttaparthi. Like I said, those days we used to get this opportunity of Swami calling us, and some of the boys, they would be called as farm boys. I'm sure many of you may be aware. So I was one such, fortunate farm boy. So Swami would call us and then ask us to fetch some clothes and things like that. So I was called in. As I went in, Swami was already inside the interview room, and Swami said, "Hey, pick up that particular stack of dhotis." And he asked me to count. So I was counting one over the other. Then he came close to me and he said, when Jagamele, in Telugu, he said this, Jagamele Paramatma Nitone Undaga Bhayamindukta. In other words, it means, when the Lord of Universe, he repeated the same lines of that particular Kriti, Tyagaraja Kriti, and he said, Jagamele Paramatma Nitone Unnad, which means, when the Lord of this world, when Lord of the universe is with you, why cry? again, like I said, it took some time for me, for it to dawn on me. And then of course I fell at his feet, crying out. So that is our Lord, my dear brothers and sisters. He's not just that physical form that we all love all the time. He's always there with us. He's always with us. But then, mind you, once he has given us this wonderful experience, the proximity. If you start thinking, oh yes, Swami is always with me and he's going to accept everything that I do, no, no, no. You cannot take him for granted at any point of time. And Bhagavan has taught me those lessons as well. As Brother Ajay Rajan said, I've had the opportunity of going for the inauguration. Bhagavan has taken um, the PhD scholars while inaugurating this Sai Shruti building in Kodaikanal, and I was one of the fortunate few to be part of that entourage. And I was actually the youngest. I was not doing my PhD. I was in Vrindavan doing my second year degree in those days, by the way. And Swami actually, even before taking me, Swami said, "You are the luckiest one. I'm taking you. You were not supposed to be there in the list, but somehow now you are fortunate." So that's how, I was really like a wild card entry kind of a thing, So I got in, and as part of this entourage, and Swami took us to Kodaikanal, and then as there, and we were hardly there for 5 days. The very first trip, it lasted only for 5 days in Kodaikanal, if I remember correctly. And in one of the sessions, of course, every day there would be several sessions, kind of private interview sessions with Bhagwan. It was a very small house. I don't know how many of you have actually seen when it was originally inaugurated in 1986. And for a couple of years, it was like that. Then many other extensions came, including the Bhajan Hall now, now it's so grand and big at the moment. But so we were like, in a hall, staying in a hall, which was attached to Swami's bedroom. So Swami literally didn't have any privacy. We were 20 of us, maybe about 18 or 19 of us. So we were all there together. And Swami would just come out of the room and we're all there standing or, sitting and waiting for him. Many times, Swami would surprise us just opening the door, just to check on us, what we're doing. And people would be either lying down, listening to some Walkman, those days we used to have that Walkman. And or chatting and things like that. Swami say, hey, chatting, that kind of thing. Very, very sweet experiences. So one such day, when Swami was actually talking to us, there's something called as a recorder, which looks like a flute in, an Italian flute. I'm pretty sure most of you who are into music would know what it is. A recorder it looks like a flute, but then it's not really, not the way you can play a flute, the classical Indian flute or the bamboo flute that we all play, Indian flute. So Swami actually got it from, asked one of the persons to go and fetch it, and somebody fetched it, and then Swami gave it to me and he said, hey, play this. Now, prior to this, actually what happened is, I must give you some background. I was thinking when Swami said, oh, you are the fortunate one that you are part of this special entourage, and, for opening of Kodaikanal building, Sai Shruti, you are here. And so that all got into my head. And so much so that I thought, oh my God, I'm really great. That kind of a feeling had come to me. I'm admitting honestly. And I confess, I'm sure, many of us, when we have some one or two achievements, we start feeling good about ourselves. And, oh yeah, this is all because of me and my greatness or my Purva Janma Sukriti or my personal achievement and things like that. And that is when Bhagwan would teach us a lesson. Like I said, you can't ever take him for granted. This is one such lesson. So as I said, it got onto me. And when Swami actually gave this recorder to me, up until then, I didn't know it's not a normal flute. So I just took it from his hands, and I said, okay, I thought, oh, fine, this is a flute. Fine, let me try and play. Now, the placement of those holes, the playing holes, was also kind of different. It looked like a flute, but it was kind of weird. So I didn't know how to even hold it. And then there is something called as a blowing hole. Let me just, kind of show my flute for those of you, just to kind of demonstrate. This is the blowing hole, and I would play like this, and with my fingers on the playing holes. So I imagined it to be so, and then I thought I could just play it. Trust me, brothers and sisters, I first of all did not know where to place my lips, how to blow into it. Finally, after a couple of minutes, as everybody was watching with bated breath, and then Swami was looking at me, staring into my eyes, you can imagine the tension in my, in me. So much so that I was wondering now how to do. Somehow I have to produce some, sound from this. And then Swami said, you play some bhajan to add to it. Now, I am not able to even produce sound. Now Swami is asking me to play a bhajan with great difficulty, maybe after about 1 or 2 minutes, which may sound like 1 or 2 minutes, but it was like a yuga or maybe two. It was so difficult for me to kind of understand. As everyone waited, I somehow figured out how to make sound, and that's it. And then when I made that sound, obviously it was not sounding clearly. And then Swami said, Dunna Pota, you claim yourself to be a flute boy. You don't even know how to play this. Dunna Pota, he said this. And, his face was like, I hate you, kind of a very difficult face. You can't really digest that look from Bhagavan when he looks at you like that. That was just enough for me. Up until then, like I said, I was thinking, oh my God, it was me that I came to Bhagavan. No. Never, never, never hallucinate yourself. It is Swami who gives you that opportunity of being close to him. It is Swami who gives you the opportunity of why go anywhere else, even taking the breath that we are. Unfortunately, we are in such a turmoil, the kind of situation that the COVID situation that we are all in, we can't even take breath properly. We'll have to cover ourselves with face masks and things like that. Bhagavan, an unseen virus is creating such a havoc, and has literally brought us down to the knee, to our knees, praying to him for his grace. Swami, like I said, he can make or break. He can do anything and everything. We just have to realize that, and only thing that we should do, probably we should think of, is to just surrender ourselves and there's nothing else. Saram, I guess I exceeded my time. I'm sorry, and I thank all the brothers and sisters. Somebody's chanting Omkaram. Yes.
No, sir. You can, if you have still, you can continue, sir. Definitely, it's been.
Yeah, I'll just wind up. Just want to share my concluding thoughts. I know it's 7 o'clock. Like I said, all we need to do is to pray and surrender, and not really think of anything else. If you think you are the thinker, you are using your own mind and great brains to, impress God, that's not going to happen. What really needs is thought, word, and deed. We just have to offer ourselves at his lotus feet, and that's it. He will take over. But we have to have that sincere faith and this strongest feeling in our hearts that he is going to take care, and that's when I'm sure he will, and he has been, and he will continue to take care. With these few thoughts, I just want to conclude. I'm sorry for extending too long. Kindly pardon me for this, and I'll request Brother Ajay Rajan to take over. Thank you all for this great chance and great opportunity. May Swami bless all of us and ensure that we get rid of this corona and pandemic, or any pandemic for that matter, and keep us all. One of the prayers that I keep praying to Bhagavan is Krishna Tvadiya Padapankaja Panjarante. It's a sloka from Mukundamala Stotram. I don't know, my dear Lord, when this breath has to go. At the old age, I may or may not be able to think of you. So right now, keep my mind, keep my heart, keep my whole self at your lotus feet. That's how the meaning is. Krishna Tvadiya Padapankaja Panjarante Adyaiva me visatu manasa rajaham saha Prana Prayana Samaye Kapavata Pittaihi Kantavarodhana Vidhau Smaranam Kutaste. Jai Sai Ram. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, brother. Definitely, we handed over the session to you late, so it's nothing for you to apologize. So apologize from us for the, but definitely your session was giving personally at least a lot of takeaway lessons, like surrendering to Swami, accepting things there, and nothing slips his mind. And these were definitely takeaway messages for all of us. We do have some questions lined up for you, sir.
Most welcome. Most welcome.
So this
I'll
is a
try and see
question.
what I can do with my best knowledge, whatever possible.
I'm sure you would be doing great with Swami's blessing, Swami talking from you.
Certainly, brother.
So since Swami told you to go and see the world and come back, and you came back to Prashantinadam in 2005 from
Yes.
US. So
Yeah.
it's like, what was it like coming back to Swami? If there is any experience that you would like to share on that front?
Yeah, sure. I mean, in fact, from the time I graduated, like I said, 1990, I graduated. And then since that, I've never wanted to go out of Puttaparthi. Like I said, the kind of wonderful proximity, the chances that one granted, always kept, they keep going in, my heart, my mind all the time. And so never wanted to leave Puttaparthi and go away. Always wanted to be in his, proximity and very close to him. And so I prayed to Bhagwan for many times, except for several chances, whenever he called us for something or the other, even during music programs, when the boys performed, I would be part of those music programs as a flute, player. And anytime I got a chance, I would always pray, Swami, please keep me close to you. Please give me an opportunity to serve at your lotus feet in Prashantinilayam so that I could remain close to you. So that was always my prayer. Now, when I did that after my MBA as well, and then Swami initially ignored, kind of ignored me. And then finally, as if he wanted to get rid of me, kind of got frustrated, and so put me in Gokulam. Although he was very sweet, he used to monitor, what, how the cows were, and, it's a different experience altogether. How Swami used to, talk so much about those cows and the health of those animals and how they need to be treated. It was a great lesson for us, as we, couple of us, along with couple of my classmates that we've all been put in Gokulam for us to kind of take care of the cowshed there. So that went on for about 1 year. Then soon after, Swami again started asking us to go home, work outside and things like that. And then always we would say, no, Swami, we want to be with you. There would be times when, I'm not sure how many of you are aware, if Swami came and gave you, bunch of vibhuti packets into your hand, and if you have accepted, that means you have accepted to go home, go away. That's how it was. And so Swami would say, Pora, go home and, serve your parents or work outside. And then he would come with the vibhuti packets, and then we would dare not to accept. In fact, we would say, Swami, please don't give us prasadam. We'll take your Pad Namaskar, and then we would bend down and we won't even look at Bhagwan's eyes. That was a kind of, closeness that he has granted. So in any case, he's actually given us those sweet chances, sweet opportunities. And in one of the interviews, it was very kind of a very strong advice, a command rather, saying, no, you're ni duddu, ni fuddu, ni blooddu. In other words, you're, the money, duddu is money, food is, the food, blood, is, they're all given by your parents. So it's your first responsibility to go and, serve your parents and be there in the society. And as he was proceeding to Kodaikanal during that year, 1990, Swami then, 91 to be precise, 91 April, Swami then said, now, okay, you've served enough in Gokulam, you have learned your lessons, now you go home. And that's when he actually said, Lokam Chusira, go home, go see the Lokam in general is like a universe, it's all universe put together, it's like that in Telugu. But then I understood it as, Lokam means, the world, go see the world and come back. So I took his blessings and went away. And when he said Lokam, I thought maybe I should not just stay in India. I should probably try and visit a few other countries. And so took that literally, and so tried for opportunities to go to the US and stayed and worked there in the US for about 6 years or so. But then, as I said, I always wanted to get back to Bhagwan's lotus feet, and I used to write letters. One such occasion when I wrote a letter to Bhagwan, Swami actually picked it up, opened it in front of the boys in the bhajan hall, I believe, and then came and read a few lines from that letter. And he said, see, that guy is in the US and he's writing from there, asking for permission to get back and return and things like that. So very sweet of Swami, even to, recognize and acknowledge that kind of thing. And so my prayer was always to get back to Puttaparthi and serve at his lotus feet. So that being the case, having come back from the US, there were occasions when I used to come. And 2003 is when we started off this January 1st ex-students, meet as such. We used to call that as Reconnect, and old boys, ex-students meet as such. So some of us, we have initiated this, and then during that particular time, I used to write daily letters to Bhagwan, saying, Swami, we are going to start off this Bridge Across Time project, Swami, and we need your kind blessings. These are the people singing in this Bridge Across Time. 2003 was, volume 1 and 2 for Bridge Across Time. And I, along with brother Sonam and others, have actually with Bhagwan's blessings, of course, have initiated this. And that's when Swami, gave us a chance to actually perform. The very first program of the old students, happened in inside the Bhajan Hall, 2004, January 1st. So rather 2002, January 1st, and then 2003 is when we actually got this sweet chance of performing in the Kulwant Hall. And so after that, I used to come regularly. And 2005, my daughter joined into her first class in primary school. But then every weekend, I was working in a private company, a huge organization in Hyderabad at that point of time. And we used to come during the weekends. One such occasion when I came on a Saturday, Sunday, whenever I came, I always had the chance to play for the bhajans inside the bhajan hall. And I played for the bhajans. And then on Sunday evening, I left Puttaparthi, came back to Hyderabad. I believe on Monday morning, Swami came into the bhajan hall and he said, where is that flute boy? And so somebody called me and said, hey, Swami was inquiring about you. So I took that as a, sweet, of course, it was a great blessing. Swami is thinking of me and wanted me to be there. I came back on the following Saturday, Sunday, and then stayed there. Swami never looked at me, never spoke to me. But again, on Monday, when I went back to Hyderabad, Monday again, he asked, I believe, where is that flute boy? So I thought, I took that as a cue. I thought maybe Swami is actually asking, or rather waiting for me to stay there for some time for an extended period. So I took a long leave from my company and then came and stayed in Puttaparthi for about 10-15 days. Nothing really happened. Swami didn't even speak to me while I stayed there. But then as I was returning, I think it was sometime in January of 2005, I guess, not very sure. There was a new vice chancellor who was going to take over for the Swami's institution. Institute of Higher Learning. Professor Gokak's son, Dr. Anil Gokak, Sri Anil Gokak, he was going to take over as the Vice Chancellor. And so I think I was going to leave on a Monday or a Tuesday, and then I kind of knelt down to take permission, to seek permission from Bhagwan. Swami, I want to go back to Hyderabad. Then, Veltava, oh, you want to go? Then he started actually talking about this Gokak Garu, the new Vice Chancellor who was going to take over as the Vice Chancellor. Started talking about it. He said, oh, this Thursday, this ceremony is going to be there in which he's going to take over. And he started talking about him. And then he didn't say you wait till Thursday, or he didn't say you go. He didn't tell me anything. But that I took that as a cue for me to stay till Thursday, have Swami's blessings. That's what I thought Swami is hinting me at. So I stayed on. That Thursday happened to be the day when Sri Anil Gokak Garu has taken over as Vice Chancellor. And then I was part of the bhajan group in that auditorium D. We call that as D, the location where bhajan boys sit to sing bhajans and all that. So I sat there and then enjoyed the program. But then I wanted to go back. But then since it's already Friday, Saturday, Sunday anyway is a weekend. So I thought I'll just stay back. Now I stayed back for Saturday, Sunday, and Sunday evening I came back to Hyderabad. Monday morning again, Bhagwan asked for me again. Then I thought, no, this is it. Maybe Swami wants me there in Puttaparthi permanently. So that was the cue. So I just came, and sometime during Shivratri, came and stayed there, and Tommy didn't really ask me to physically come stay and whatever. But then whenever I wasn't in Puttaparthi, he would ask for me. That was a kind of cue that he's given. So as I stayed there, and then I used to pray, Swami, please give me an opportunity to continue. So that's how it started. And with his grace and blessings, I'm still here in Puttaparthi. That's the background, brother.
That's beautiful. The Krishna has been searching for his flute. So beautiful, brother.
Thank you so much.
Since you touched the flute, so how did flute become part of your life? What was the driver?
How? I'm sorry. How?
Why did you choose flute as an instrument?
Oh,
for your-
okay. Okay. Even as I was growing up, my eldest brother, Professor Jairam, who's retired professor in IIT Delhi. He's in Delhi now. He used to actually like playing flute, especially the Hindustani flute, the the flute. And he would actually bring a lot of audio cassettes of Pandit Chaurasia, Pandit Pannalal Ghosh, and all those experts, the great stalwarts, and he would keep listening to them, and then he would practice. So as a child, I used to run around, pick up one of those flutes and start playing, and then he would encourage me. So basically, I would say my first guru as I grew up is my eldest brother, Professor Jairam, who actually taught me how to hold a flute and then play along. And then as I played, of course, again, thanks to my parents, my mother, I knew whether I was playing correctly or not when I played a tune. I used to play all these Hindi film tunes, Telugu film tunes and all that in those days. And, I knew instantly whether I was playing correctly or not. So the tune, you would know, obviously. So I kind of used to experiment with it. And then brother used to tell me, oh, the holding position is this, and you have to blow this way, that way. And, he used to kind of teach me. So that got me into flute. And as I listened to it, and then the moment, I joined, of course, I started playing flute even before coming into being a student. As I said, I was part of the bhajan group even in Shivam. And as a bhajan group member, I got my first Pad Namaskar. So my brother's encouragement was a primary thing. And then, of course, I picked it up. And then as I realized that Bhagwan really liked it, the playing of the flute, and then subsequently he called me flute boy as well. So that became part of me now. That's how it was.
Thank you, brother. That's so beautiful. Since you've been part of this bhajan group, since ever since that you have been in Swami's Institute, and you were also prayer, I'm sure that would have given you a lot of interactions with Bhagwan. So
Yes.
what would be Bhagwan's guidance for singers? Because we have a lot of singers over in this group. So is there any guidance that comes top of your mind that you could share for the singers?
Oh, sure. Yes, there are plenty of experiences that Bhagwan has granted. And I'm sure if Brother Karthik is in the group right now, he also would know, he being the one of the singers, bhajan group singers. There are several things, of course, Swami keeps, he used to indicate, I was very fortunate to be in the very front line, very close to Bhagwan's chair, in fact, right in front of Swami's chair. In those days when bhajans were sung inside the bhajan hall. So one or two straightforward indications are, I'm pretty sure many of you would have probably heard experiences of Brother Sonam. One particular day when he was singing Aravindalochana, excuse me, Aravindalochana Artha Janavana. Then the line goes, Ishwarambanandana Dosha Nivarana. He was singing this, and he was enjoying the bhajan so much that actually I think he was even crying as he was singing. Swami was seated in the bhajan hall. I was there. I was a direct witness to this. Swami was seated in the bhajan hall, and then he was putting talam to this bhajan. And then as he sang and as he was actually, enjoying, probably crying out to Bhagwan, Swami quickly got up and then went out. Now, normally, for those who have experienced this, if Swami is actually sitting there enjoying the bhajan and he suddenly gets up and then goes away, it either means that Swami didn't like the bhajan or didn't like the singing, didn't like the way it is being sung, or maybe there's something urgent that has come up. So the singer and people rather in the bhajan group, they would really feel kind of very uncomfortable. So Brother Sonam thought, Swami did not really like the bhajan. And then he was feeling further, he was bad. He was feeling really bad about it. But then what Swami really did was to go out all the way into the devotees area, went directly up to Sonam's mother and sister, and he said, "Chudu enta baga paartunadu. Dekho kaise itna acha ga raha hai." He went and acknowledged, and then he went and said, "See how nicely he's singing. It's so much of bhavam." So, as I said, it's the bhavam that he looks at. However, having said that, if somebody misses talam or even the tune, there's one brother, I don't want to name him, very, very famous. He's still a lecturer in our university. One day, he was singing this bhajan. I'm sorry, now I'm forgetting that line. There is a bhajan, Rama bhajan. He was singing this bhajan and then he forgot one particular line. Papa vimochana Dukha Bhanjan Sri Ram. I think that's the bhajan he was singing. He actually forgot one line, and then he was repeating the previous line again and again. Swami prompted him from there, and then he sang the next line. He was sitting right across, and then he looked at him like that, with a serious face, frowned at him, and then said, "Practice before coming here." That was a lesson. So the first and foremost thing is, yes, Swami expects all of us to really practice before we actually sit in his presence for bhajan, be it at home, in a samiti, or in his physical presence. Every time it is the physical presence. One occasion when Brother Ravi Kumar was actually sharing, and it really touched my heart as well. They were casually singing at home, and then I believe his sister was not really. They were all children, dressed suitably, and then they were sitting in front of Bhagwan's altar and singing. And apparently his mother said, "No, you are sitting in front of Swami, dressed properly." And then the daughter didn't hear, sister didn't hear. And then when they came to Puttaparthi, Swami called the girl, and he said, "See, when Amma tells you something to dress properly, you must dress yourself well." So Swami is watching us. I'm telling you, Swami has given me umpteen experiences as well. Whether we are doing bhajans at home or in a samiti or physically in Puttaparthi or anywhere else, Swami is always watching us and looking at us and listening to us and listening to the thoughts as well. Many occasions when somebody sings a bhajan very nicely and we all think it was very nice, Swami says, "You should sing better." And it's probably referring to not just the physical tune or whatever it is, probably the thoughts that were going on. And because I experienced it, when I thought I played the flute very well and my mind was not stable, Swami would come and say, "No, you should improve yourself." So I knew instantly that he was referring to my thoughts and things like that. So you need to be in tune with him, not just the shruti part. And there are several occasions like that. So we need to practice well. We need to surely tune ourselves, and that's why a lot of elders would say you should read Sanatan Sardi or something like that before you actually come and sit in bhajan. So those things really help us to be in tune with it. That's how it is.
Thank you, brother. Definitely some takeaways for me, at least personally.
All of us, brother, all the time. Yes.
So, do you have time? We can go for a couple of questions more, brother. Is it okay?
Most welcome. I'm all yours. It's just that I'm not sure how long you all have, because there are several. Probably they have the other appointments.
So, brother, you graduated MBA.
Yes.
And Swami put you into Gokulam, and you're a flute boy. So, do you see any connection of being a flute and managing the cows? Is there anything that you see that?
Yes. In fact, even during my this term flute boy came into picture when I actually joined itself. As I said, 1985, 60th birthday, when Swami actually wrote this Radha Krishna drama. Those days itself, Swami used to call me flute boy, and then continued on, "Hey, you are a flute boy." Although I didn't have a role as such to learn the song or to kind of do anything tangibly, Swami used to call me in, and then so from those days itself, Swami used to call me as flute boy. So I used to really imagine myself to be a Gopala while he's Lord Krishna. And so I used to really come back to hostel, play the flute, and then keep thinking of him as a Gopala, as one of the boys playing along with Lord Krishna in his childhood and things like that. I was really, in kind of a fantasy, I used to enjoy that kind of a, thinking process. Subsequently, when he has put me in Gokulam to work, to serve there in Gokulam, and Swami used to literally tell me, in fact, there were several lessons he taught me directly as well. He said, hey, you are playing flute. What's the use if you are not straight? Now, what it meant is your thought needs to be straight. If you actually observe a flute, it is straight. I'm actually showing it to you. And a Carnatic classical flute would have, of course, this has 7 holes only, because there are 6 holes, the Hindustani flute, 6 holes for playing. There would be a 7th hole, of course, this flute doesn't have, and then a blowing hole. So only 7 in this, but then a Carnatic classical flute would have 9 holes, and it refers to the body, human body, 9 holes. So Swami would say, you need to be like a flute. A flute is something, it is straight, which means you need to be straightforward in your thinking. It should not be bent. It has to be straight. It should be straight. And then it should be clean. If there is any dirt inside the flute, obviously the sound won't be clear. And so it obviously means that you should not have any ego, and you should be open, you should be plain, you should not have any bad thoughts or anything like that. So these are some of the lessons that Bhagwan used to teach, directly told me. And then when he's put me in Gokulam as well, he said, yeah, you are getting a chance to spend time with the cows there. So play flute for the cows. So I used to actually take my flute there and play for the cows. Especially Swami used to say, while milking, if you actually make the cows listen to the music, they will actually yield more milk. So I would literally do this experiment myself. Not that they gave more milk when I played flute. No, I'm not trying to claim any of that. But I used to enjoy, being with the cows and playing the flute for them. And then hopefully they enjoyed it, Bhagwan enjoyed it. And then I used to play flute music as well, recorded flute music as well. And so it was fun spending time in Gokulam as well. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I mean, it was a sweet time.
So I just have one more last question.
Most welcome.
Follow.
Post 2011, also we see devotees coming into Swami. It's like, probably they might not, or some of us in this group also, we don't have that experience of the physical proximity with Swami,
Yes.
or the kind of conversation. And maybe for the new devotees also, how do they can connect to Swami, like the way you guys did with Swami?
Right. I keep getting this question quite often, and I wouldn't say it's very easy. I can't just exclaim and say, oh yeah, it is very easy. Swami is everywhere, so just experience him. That's all. No, I'm not going to say that. But all I could say is, you have to put in the effort to experience him every moment of your life. When I say you, I include myself in this. Unless we keep on trying to experiencing him in every moment of our lives, he's not going to show himself to us. So post 2011 as well, after Swami left his body, one lesson that he has taught us, of course, majority of us who enjoyed this kind of proximity with Bhagwan, it was extremely difficult for us to take that, to live a life without seeing Swami's physical frame, Swami moving about, Swami smiling at us, and then giving us those sweet opportunities and chances. However, what he has taught us is to really look within. And I was just exclaiming, I was just sharing this thought with my spouse as well this morning. Maybe this is the reason why Swami has created this Corona as well. Because, because of Corona, all of us are sitting at home. And, maybe because of Corona, we are thinking more of Swami, more of God. And in the process, trust me, brother, there are several people who have actually shared their experiences. There's one small project that, I kind of coordinate. There is a Tapovanam reading project wherein, 2 chapters would be read by the devotees on every Saturday, and then we all take turns. And, I can explain this later. So many people who have actually read this or done some Namasmarana or, kind of tuned themselves with Bhagwan have seen or have had some experience or the other. In other words, what I'm trying to tell you is, you need to get in tune with Bhagwan. You need to actually just sit and experience him in your heart, and then pray to him, cry out to him. And he is there, like I just mentioned in some of the experiences. If you restrict him to that body alone, then you are fooled. he has been teaching us that you are Atma, you are God, and it is for us to realize. And the picture that I'm sharing with you right now, in fact, this was given to my batch in, MBA when I was actually doing my MBA. The first time, Swami has created 30 photographs, and then we were all the MB boys were, we were seated inside the bhajan, in the interview room, and then Professor Nanjundaya Garu was translating, and then he's created this, and he said, Swami talking to Swami, this photoshopping technology was not there back in 1989, I'm pretty sure. And Swami said, this photo literally shows you that you are God. Now, the day you actually develop the qualities of God, the day you become divine, then one of Swami's pictures, this is what Swami told us, by the way. And as you all can see, Swami is still talking to Swami. The day you become divine, then one of the pictures of Swami will turn to be your photo. In other words, what Swami is trying to tell us is you are God, and if you want to experience God, you have to develop those godly qualities. So it is by a continuous namasmarana, continuous faith that Swami is watching us, looking at us, listening to us, seeing us, and he's with us all the time. The best way Swami, one of the interviews actually he's mentioned is, I think one of my brothers, classmates asked Swami, how do we experience you all the time? Swami said, there's no need to do any special efforts, put in any special efforts to really experience me. All you need to do is all the time, just believe, just have faith that Swami is with you. That's all. Just have faith. Just believe that Swami is with you. Now, when Swami is with you, and treat him as your best friend. This is what Swami said. And when you are with your best friend, what would you do? You would just share everything, very casually. Hey, friend, I did this. Hey, friend, I did that. And, I'm thinking like this. What's your opinion? You keep asking him for his opinion. And, you go about talking to him because he's your best friend and close friend. So treat me like your best friend and, think that I'm always with you. And share every thought you have. Share everything that, Swami, I'm sitting here, I'm working on my system, and I have this problem at work. Swami, I have this problem at home. Swami, I have this, I'm having coffee. Would you like to have coffee? So keep talking to me. In the process, what happens is you are thinking of Swami. You are sharing everything with Swami, which is what is actually necessary. You are even in physical world. You need to share yourself. You have to really surrender everything, your thought, word, and deed you're offering to Swami. Thirdly, you cannot do anything wrong because you are believing that Swami himself is sitting next to you. You cannot think wrong. You cannot do anything wrong. And that is sufficient. Every such thought, everything will reach me. Swami, trust me, Swami said this. And see, this is how we have to live. This is how we have to do. And I'm sure each one of us will certainly experience him in our lives. This is how it can be.
Thank you, brother. Definitely still motivating us or inspiring. So I'm also hearing all those things. So thank you very much. And since you put up Punam Parayanam, and we have a good audience over here, you want to touch upon that because I'm one of your group leaders. So
yes, yes, brother. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, for those who are interested, well, Swami inspired some of us in Puttaparthi Prashanthi Nilayam to start this project back in November 2019. And it was, of course, well before Corona itself. But then, he's the inspiration. The way it happened is we thought we should do something as, once we are in this world, getting lost into these routine things, you really, can't really focus on him. So we thought we should probably try and do something differently. And then, so that we can actually focus some of our time to start with maybe once in a week and things like that. So, of course, many of us do a lot of prayers on a daily basis. That's all there, part of us. However, as a samohika sadhana, as a sadhana together, that was a thought process that went in. And then the way we did was, okay, we started reading. There are 18 chapters, Sri Jandhyala Shastri Garu. He has written this Tapovanam. The uniqueness of this particular book, brother, is it's not one person's experience. There are umpteen books, thousands of books people have written, on Swami, and it's their personal opinion, their musings, their thoughts, and their sadhana that they have written. They're wonderful books, very, very nice books, but they're all written by one single individual about his own way of how how to approach Swami, how to reach Swami. Now, this particular Tapovanam book is more like a Satcharitra. In fact, it is also written as Satcharitra, the heading also. So we thought we'll pick up this particular book, and 18 chapters. It's very simple. It's a small book. We thought, we'll just read this book by turns. And again, Bhagwan inspired us. So the way we have done it is on a particular Saturday. Now, why we have chosen Saturday? Because 2019 Bhagwan's birthday happened to be on Saturday. So we thought we'll start on Swami's birthday. So on Saturday, we will just read 2 chapters. One person would read 2 chapters. And then next person would read the next 2 chapters. For example, if I read 1, 2, the second person would read 3, 4. Third person would read 5, 6. So like that, there are 9 people. 9 people would complete the entire book. So on a given Saturday, all these 9 people put together like a Samohik Sadhana, they will read the book completely. So it's like a half-an-hour bhajan session or a 45-minute bhajan session in Prashanti Nilayam, wherein somebody starts a Ganesha bhajan, the second one sings Guru, then somebody sings Devi, and then go on. And then finally, somebody sings the last bhajan, and then somebody else offers Aarti. So the person who is reading chapter 17, 18 would offer Aarti on behalf of this group. Now, what we have done is we have actually started a WhatsApp group with these 9 people just to share notes. Okay, my dear brother, serial number 1, Ravi Teja would read chapter number 1 and 2. Brother Ajay Rajan would read chapter number 3 and 4. So that's how we put it. And then the roll number would be given, and then we would just kind of coordinate among ourselves. So that's how it started. And then there were many other enthusiasts who wanted to read as well. So we started one more WhatsApp group, and that's how it has started. And then the second thing that we thought was, okay, on a particular Saturday, we have completed reading our allocated chapters. For example, I read 1 and 2. Now the next Saturday, I would read 3 and 4. Right? And the second person who has completed reading 3, 4 would read 5 and 6 on the second Saturday. The third person would obviously read the next 2 chapters after. So over a period of 9 weeks, 9 Saturdays to be precise, the way it would happen is I would have completed reading the entire book, 1 and 2 on the first Saturday, 3 and 4 on the second Saturday, 5 and 6 on the third Saturday, so on. And then on the 9th Saturday, I would complete reading 17 and 18 and finally would have given Aarti. Similarly, the brother who started, let's say the 9th one in this list, would have started with chapter 17, 18, because he's the last one, right? He would have started with chapter 17, 18, given Aarti on behalf of the group on the first Saturday. He would start on the second Saturday, he would have read chapter 1 and 2. On the third Saturday, he would have read chapter 3 and 4. So finally, on the 9th Saturday, he would have reached 15 and 16. In other words, the last one also has completed reading the entire book, right? So in other words, in 9 Saturdays, every person in that particular group would have completed reading the entire book once. And on a given Saturday, all these 9 put together would have completed reading the book once. So in 9 Saturdays, the group together would read 9 times, and then individually one would have read 1 time. So that is the kind of program that we've made for the 9 people. And so a lot of people like this idea, more so because it's a Saturday weekend, and you can always sit at your comfort. You don't have to really go anywhere, or it's not a group reading. You can sit at your home in front of Swami's altar or anywhere in your comfort. All you need is that seriousness and tuning yourself with Bhagwan, and that's all. You would read and enjoy the bliss. And people have liked it, and so we have started many WhatsApp groups like this. And today, with Bhagwan's grace, there are about 7,900 groups all over the world, and about 71,000 people are either they have completed reading or are reading at the moment. And it's spread all across the world. The way it has spread, only Swami knows how it is going on. So coming back to the point is, yeah, this is how it is read. And those who are interested can always contact you or any of those leaders who are already, kind of handling this. I know many of our brothers who are leading, reading and are leaders in this particular project are actually part of this as well, as I'm talking to you right now. So that's how it is. Tapovanam project.
Thank you for highlighting that. Definitely, we have been a lot of miracles how Swami has been helping after they started to read.
I'm pretty sure. Yes, I keep getting a lot of this news, and it's very inspiring and very thrilling. Many times, a lot of devotees keep sharing. Very nice. that every time.
Knew what was the reason for Saturday, but I just got to know it was because of Swami's birthday in 2018.
It's all Swami's inspiration, brother. We are just instruments. We just have to offer ourselves, and then he takes over. I've experienced this time and again. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. And as a last request, it's not from me, even from the group, is that can you play a bhajan for us in your flute?
Sure, please go on. I'm sorry, I didn't. What was the question?
Just play a bhajan for us in the flute.
Oh, okay, sure, certainly. Okay.
Sairam Raviteja garu.
Sairam, sir.
Sir, morning meeku oka message పెట్టాను sir. My name is M. Lakshmi Narayana.
Sir, Sairam, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm also a member of Chennai East Coast. Sir,
Sairam, sir.
Oh, daily we are doing satsanga. You please give me one date, sir, at your convenient.
Swami is great, sir. Certainly, sir.
Sairam.
We'll pray for that.
మీ చాలీసా గుంటూరు ఫ్యామిలీ అంతా విన్నాను సార్.
అవును సార్.
I joined
My
on that day.
father has written this chalisa. In fact, father was a great poet. I could say he's like a saint. He's written many things. Sai Karavalamba Stotram. There are several. Chalisa is one among them, and Bhagwan has very graciously has accepted. Personally, and yeah, I mean, it is being all over. It is being sung all over with his grace again. And Amma being, a great Carnatic musical professional, she has actually tuned it in very simple tune. And with brother Krishna Mohan, together they have tuned this. And it's sung all over. It's a very nice simple tune. Only thing is, it is in Telugu. So for those who understand Telugu, would actually really appreciate. Father probably has reached a very great level, elevated himself to that level that all those the wordings that are there, and it's very inspiring. Teaches a lot of Swami's message apart from his leelas, and then gives us so much of energy while chanting it. It's like Hanuman Chalisa for Lord Hanuman. This is Satya Sai Chalisa, Satya Sai, Lord Satya Sai. That's very sweet. Sure. Okay. So I'll try and since you mentioned Patishwara, Satya Sai Ishwara, I'll try and probably say that. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Sorry, your voice is not audible. Sorry, brother. I am unable to hear you properly. I think there's something wrong. I'm sorry. I'm unable to hear you.
Better now, sir? You able to hear me now?
Yeah. It's a lot better. It's a lot better.
No, I think Swami says ceiling on desire, but our desires are increased. One more request for a bhajan of Sai Mata Pita. So is it okay if you can play that? If you have the note.
Notes are not audible because I'm sorry. I could hear what something.
So just while playing the high notes, I request you to go a little
away from the mic, is it?
Away from, slightly away from the mic or tilt the instruments.
Okay. I'm actually sitting away from the mic itself, from the laptop. Anyway, I'll try. Sure, brother. Sorry about that. Okay. This bhajan is actually very, very close to me as well. Thank you, my sister who asked me. The reason I say this is because while going to Kodaikanal in 1986, Swami came into the bus, sat in the bus, and then, as you have probably seen one of the pictures, Swami asked me to play flute, and as he played talam. And then Swami asked me to stop playing the flute and then asked me to sing the bhajan. So I was taken aback. I asked Swami, should I sing? Swami said yes, and then I took that as an opportunity and sang this. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva. What else to say? What else to offer ours? Just offer us and said it's so sweet. So I sang this bhajan. Swami smiled and kept putting talam and then kept swinging to the bhajan. And so it's actually this bhajan is very, very close to my heart.